Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me this evening on the In Review. What is your news lately? And did I say lately? Someone's lately, like Michael Jackson, Sister Jackson. What have you done for me lately? Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening on the late one, In Review, and it's going to be there's not every news or every topic that we're going to be able to touch on tonight. Just dropped in. Thank you so much for that. We're going to look at Guyana demands reparations, justice for Chris Kaba, and a Jamaica speaker being investigated as well. And that's going to be very interesting. And also, we'll be hearing what your views are on Russell Brand, where the BBC has pledged full transparency in internal review. And looking forward to your contribution and to your input as well on this Thursday night. And I'm just going to invite my first guest, which is Miss Diana. Hey, how are you? Diane.
Hello,
Oh, are you there? Miss
I am
Mackenzie?
here.
Oh, you froze a while ago. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for having me. And I like what you're doing. Keep up the good work, keeping us informed.
Yes, 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 yes.
Hot
And
topics,
I
hot
think,
topics.
yeah, yeah. Somebody just said I sound like Trevor McDonald from 9 o'clock news.
Oh, God. That's a compliment. That's a compliment.
Thank you so much. Last week, somebody said I sound like a radio talk show host. I said, well, this is let's say that everybody sound like me, if anything, the Sylbourne Sydial show. I mean, some people have been asking me to do some voiceovers recently, so I've been doing some voiceovers and going,
Right?
welcome to the show.
Oh, God.
you know. But listen, how are you? How is it's getting a bit? Is it getting a bit chilly? Would you say it's a bit chilly where you are?
It is getting a bit chilly.
Mm.
One of the lovely things is I understand that you guys had really, really bad rain in London. And a friend who came up from London to do some business up this side, I saw her put on her Facebook, no rainstorm in Nottingham. No. And I was like, yes, man.
No,
But
no
yes, it is.
rainstorm. No
No,
rainstorm in Nottingham.
no rain in Nottingham. Overcast, but not stormy rain. It
Oh,
is getting a bit chilly. The evenings are getting darker a bit quicker, so
mm.
the ladies have to be a little bit more vigilant. But yes, yes.
What does that mean, vigilant? What does that mean? Ladies have to be more vigilant.
Well, it
I've been
has
sick.
to be in terms of safety. We know that
Oh
when
right,
it gets
okay. I thought you meant I was, ladies have to be. Take it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was. I get it. I get your point. Yes, yes, yes. Ladies have got to be more vigilant. I must say. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, definitely. I mean, I've been walking in the park in the morning, and I realize it's
Hmm.
getting a bit dark. You know, and
Yes.
the 7 o'clock bell is getting a bit dark. But
Yep.
in the morning, but I still have to keep the momentum and just walk in my big stick. So in case any dog, the most I'm gonna
Yes.
get is dogs running up, running, trying to
Oh
attack.
yes. What an adventure you had.
Yeah, you know what I mean,
But
and things like.
as
Sorry,
we
you're
talk
saying?
about it's getting darker and the ladies have to be I
Mm.
just literally said that off the top of my head, but on a very
Yes.
serious note, just to remind your female listeners and viewers
Mm.
that in this country the government and the police have a caution out for women to say if they're stopped by a single police, they should not be obligated to stop for a single police. If it's not more than one, do not stop. And this is coming off the back foot of this police officer who
With Sarah.
and
With
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting what you said there. That's very interesting what you said. So therefore, if a lady is stopped by a single policeman or so,
the
be
police
very.
officer, yeah,
y-
yeah,
Yeah.
she should consider her safety first and foremost and make her way to a police station. And whatever questions or whatever they need to speak to her about should be done in that guise.
Okay, that's very interesting because it's
Hmm.
it's a very it's a very tricky word because even in the whole aspect of hacking, which is happening now, so many people are hacking. You just don't know who to trust. I mean, somebody
Why,
today
why,
called.
why somebody can't hack my bank account and put some money in there? Why they always want to do that? Honestly.
Maybe Gary will hack it for you and put some money in there, right? Gary from Birmingham. He's from Birmingham, you know. Birmingham has having had some money with issues. He's gone into his account, you know, right, Gary?
Yeah. Yes, man. Hack it and
I
put
don't
some
know,
money in
but
there, please.
I wish somebody could hack and do that, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Honestly. Ah, I need a
I
Robin
mean,
Hood. I need a in there Robin Hood.
I don't think we're gonna
yeah,
find that these days, really.
yeah. I mean, sometimes these guys that I can say that you want XYZ and you need to pay this, and I say, why don't they just put the money in and then just deduct it? You know, it's
You know
always a
what I
bit so
mean?
silly.
Absolutely.
Gary, how are you doing? How is Birmingham? Is it getting chilly down there?
Well, it's great. It's great to be with you, Sil, and
Yes.
Diane. It's good to have you back,
Hi, Gary.
and it's Birmingham today hasn't been too bad, even though it's been raining. It's been raining
Mm.
here. Not too bad. It could. I wish it was a little bit warmer. I wish it was like what it was. I think 2 weeks back. It
Ah,
was really wonderful. It was glorious, really.
is it
Yes,
a
yes.
case, Gary,
Well,
where
listen.
where where
One of
you
the first
cannot?
things that I want to say is, right, go on, go on,
No, Gary was talking about the weather, and
Diana. You were saying
I'm
something.
just wondering if he is a Mr. Hard to please.
No, no, not at all. I'm not that hard to please at all. I wish that England would receive some good warmth instead
Ah,
of
Mm.
instead of the cold and the rain. I don't really mind the rain to some extent, but sometimes when rain comes, it kind of brings the cold. But I'll take it as it comes. I'll take it as it comes.
Well, one of the things that I say when I'm walking in the morning, I say I walk in the rain, I walk in the snow, I walk in hurricane, I walk in everything like that. Bring it on. And I mean, I never stop at all because of anything. And I'm trying to say I'm always walking as much as possible. But listen, being hot all summer. Rowan said hi. Rowan, how are you doing? And guys on Instagram, TikTok. Listen, Gary, the big belly man didn't mess us up this time. The Bank of England governor, he
No,
kept
I
the
think I
rate.
think he's been hearing. I think he's been hearing what you're saying.
He didn't want us anymore to say the big belly man. Yeah.
No,
Can I just ask, is there a delay in the system or something like that from your side, Gary? I mean, it sounds very clear.
no, I think what
Mm,
let me come back out and come back in because I think there is
okay.
a bit of a delay.
Yeah. Diana, are you okay from your side there? Let me see.
I think mine is okay so far, but then
Yeah.
Sky is not the best. So let us see how they handle this today.
Okay. As long as it's not, yeah. As long as it's not, what do you call it?
Digicel.
Digital off. Off. Yeah. But yeah, what's your take about the Bank of England governor sort of kept the rate 5.25?
I mean, they have to do something at some point. And we understand from an economic perspective why they had been, in terms of inflation, trying to balance
Yes.
things out by raising interest rate. But at some point, they have to realize that people are struggling, and if you can control the price of mortgages and interest rate from that level, then you're going to have people have more to spend in the economy. So we're just waiting to see whether or not he keeps it at this level, so
Mhm.
that those mortgage payments can be a bit more stabilized and people
Yeah.
can see more
Yeah.
and what they can spend.
Yeah, because every time there's an interest rate rise,
Mhm.
it affects many different sector, mortgage
Absolutely.
holders, and what it says, 15 the 15% September 23 rate held at 0.25, 1973, 1980. The Bank of England has kept the UK-based interest rate at 5.25,
Yep.
and the rate held. So I'm not going to give him too many negative thing this time, but I think he need to bring it down to 5.0. So I'm going to still call him the big
Oh,
belly
you're
man.
gonna still call him
You
the
know,
big belly man?
still call him the big belly man as well. Um, because really and truly, and we've been monitoring it for a long time. Every time it goes up, the bank actually reach out to you to say, "Hang on a second, guys." Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is going to go up, and people really feel it as much as possible. And it is felt like that they up there, they don't really feel it because
Mm-hmm.
everything is covered by expenses, so they don't really feel it. The
Yeah.
big guys, them up, yeah, yeah. 14 answer not bad. Yeah. What do you mean by that, everyone? 4 out of 10 answer not bad. Yeah, yeah. Um, Listen, a breaking news which came in today, and that was the topic there: justice for Chris Kaba. Um, the police is going to be charged. Well, it has been charged, and is and let me see. Gary just came back in. Um, let me see. Gary, yeah, you're back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That looks better for me anyway.
Yes, yes. No, I was just touching on the whole issue with Chris Kaba. Justice for Chris Kaba. This has been going on for a while now, and the recent breaking news is that the police officer is on bail, the one that fired that single shot. You know,
Oh
and
yes.
that is, and the family is very pleased by that. You know,
Well, I
what's
mean,
your
to
take on?
me, again, yeah, I mean, to me, Donna and Sil, is that I really
Diana,
believe
yeah.
that it's just it's a tick box exercise.
Mm,
I think that he's going to be found not guilty. If he's found guilty and set and imprisoned, then um that will be quite something. It'll be something, but they have to be seen to be addressing the issue,
so what you're saying, they're
because as
going through the
far
process.
yes, yes, they're just going through the process, because there was no reason for him to be a shutter. Now I'm not again, I don't know Chris. I don't know what he was involved in. But I think at the same time that there was no reason to shoot at him. If he
Mm,
was in the
Mm-hmm.
car and they asked him to do something, he refused to do it. And then when they searched the car, they didn't find any gun. They didn't find
mm,
anything.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
So 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 I mean, why did they have to shoot him? And that is the same thing that they do with every young man that they accost. Even if he's not driving anything, if he's walking on the road, they manhandle him. If he's on the bus, they manhandle him. If he's in the car, they manhandle him or
Mm-hmm.
manhandle them. So it doesn't really matter what our black men or black boys do. They will always do something in order to, let's say, eliminate. You just eliminate. Just deal with the situation. One less
mm,
individual. And I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be shocked at all. I would not be shocked at all, sad to say, that there are individuals within the police force who look on our young black men or black boys and say, and when these things happen, it's not, we just got one less to deal with. That's how they think about us.
mm,
It's amazing that and I agree with you to some point, Gary, because while you were talking, I was reminding myself of a news piece, and this was Azalea Rodney shooting police marksman cleared of murder, and he claimed self-defense. What we know is that when it comes on to black and brown people, especially black folks, that the justice system delivers limited, and this I say based on evidence both in the news and in the black community's experiences. they are over policed, and what you find is it has been horrendous in that you wonder how is it that whether because of your skin color the law takes a different position and they see a black man as a threat
Mm.
before you. So in this case, what from is the vehicle that apparently was in some criminal activities the day before, allegedly in some criminal activities the day before. So when they stopped the vehicle, of the vehicle were
Yeah.
harmed. So unless you see a suspect brandishing a weapon, no point, especially in this country, are you expecting a police officer to discharge his weapon? And when I first heard of the story, and
Mm.
I watched what was happening in the news, it was reminiscence of um the Mark Duggan thing back in 2012.
In
I was
Tottenham. Mm.
11. Yeah. It was different, but somehow you got this deja vu in terms of how it was handled. And I am the mother of a young black man, and I have to say, when it comes on to this, please, if you hear anybody raising their voices or protesting, I do not. I would not suggest that you join in. So you just have to start now thinking, um, what can you do as a black man? I can't imagine what it must feel like to be a
Mm.
certain kind of black man in this country, because it just seems like before you even open your mouth or before you move, you fit a certain profile. And that is one that is intimidating and needs to be restrained and need control. So, I am glad that the officer
Yeah,
there
lose you
was
there.
any
You glad that,
what he said is another thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. We're having some little difficulty, Diane. Sometimes you keep losing your your voice there in the system. But I think,
I
yeah, I think anyhow still that with what is happening, and as well Gary said, it's a tick box exercise. But the parents see it as an opportunity. They feel justice is, or the wheels of justice is being turned. Um, the Met police officer who has not been named, he will appear at Westminster Magistrate Court on Thursday, where he'll be formally charged, which I believe was today, because this news was yesterday. The police watchdog said that the officer and Mr. Kaba's family had been notified of the decision on Wednesday morning, and Mr. Kaba was informed was being allowed, followed by several police vehicles in Streatham Hill before it turned into Kirkstall Garden, where it was blocked by a marked car, struck by a single gunshot fire. I always find it fascinating, even with the police officers. But let's go with the United States of America. Why they always shoot to kill? I'm trying to say they always shoot to really kill. When really and truly, if someone is running away, why try to kill the person, shoot them in their feet or something like that.
no,
You
they
notice
shoot
that
to
a
kill black
very,
people. And we need to be clear about that. They shoot to kill black people. Um, you have we have instances in America where suspects who have done mass shooting, that they
mm,
detain them without harm.
yes,
They have guns, and they have weapons, and they have been, once the evidence shows that once you're white, unless you pose and I can't even think what kind of threat, because a weapon is a weapon is a weapon, and having
mm,
murdered many folks. And it has been seen in America where you can detain a white person and take them in, so the justice system will have its course. But when it comes down to black and brown people, They don't seem to have that same level of response. So
Yes,
that
yes,
that for me is, yeah, it's concerning.
yeah. Gary, where do you see this going to? I even you sort of gave an indication earlier with Chris Kaba, tick box exercise.
Well, it's not going to get any better. I don't think things at all will get any better. I think our young men, young boys, old men, black or whatever you want to, whichever class you put them in,
Yes.
I think they will be manhandled. I think they will. We're not going to really see true justice. When justice is asked for, then we'll see some tick boxes being done so as to appease those who cry out. But it won't change. I mean, look at in the United States. Has anything changed over time? Now, listen, in America, when it comes to the killing of black men, it's not only in the last 5 years or 10 years that um, during the advent of social media that black men have been killed. Let me just make that quite clear. Black people have always been killed as early as in the 1960s, in the 1950s, in the 1940s. Black people have always been killed. We may not always have heard about it. It is only that because of what WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, any of the well-known
Platforms.
social medias,
Yeah.
and the phone can videotape the action that's being done, but it's always been there. And has anything changed? Tell me, Sylbourne or Diane, has anything changed? Nothing. Nothing has changed. Nothing is going to change. So I
And
think to some extent that I think that to some extent we've got to understand
Mm.
that even though there are voices out there for change, even though there are voices out there to change tactics and to look at things more better or whatever, okay, these things may happen. But the actions of still taking life and maiming life is going to happen. That won't change.
Dan, do you think that is what Gary's saying? It will not gonna change. Nothing is gonna change. Do you see that,
I
Dan?
look, I'm not a pessimistic person,
Mm.
I've got to live in the real world, and I'm a realist. Has there been improvement in the justice system and how things are highlighted in America? Yes, we have seen improvement in terms of um, the officers are now wearing body cam. Now we know that that has not stopped them from mercilessly murdering black folks in America. My biggest problem with the American justice system or the American system as a black person think about the numbers of black people who have such violent crime from the law enforcement, then for me personally, I have to look on, and I won't say black on black violence, but somebody
Yes.
once said that that we don't need the Ku Klux Klan anymore because we
Mm.
tend to do a darn good job ourselves by killing off each other. So we don't necessarily have such a strong position in terms of our response to the way that Black Americans are being treated in
Mm.
terms of being murdered. It is wrong. Do I think it's going to change? I'm not sure in my lifetime that the American justice system would recognize the value of Black life, because until America
Mm.
changes the constitution, where a black person is more than two-thirds of a human being, right? And
Mm.
somebody can correct me if I'm wrong if they have changed that as yet in 2023. If that has not been changed, what we are going to see are better wordings. We're going to see more
Mm.
rehearsed responses, but we're not going to see any substantial change, because at the end of the day, you're saying that one life is valued less than another life.
Yeah.
So
It
it
yeah,
becomes their response.
yeah. It is very interesting what you say, and it would be very damning if that is still on the books in America, which I'll check
Mhm.
with a couple other brethren as well to see if that still exists on the books in Jamaica, of being one third,
In
of human
America,
beings.
yeah,
Is it
two
one?
thirds,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, two-thirds human being. But yeah, we just hope better. But I want to move on quickly. Russell Brand, not to touch that too much because I want to go and get into something a bit more juicy regarding reparation. But Russell Brand, what do you think about this trial by the public? I mean, we saw Chris, what's his name, Cliff Richards, case of recent days, well, not recent days, where they had to pay out a lot to him, and
Hmm.
with Russell Brand, they said because his brand has changed and he's not so pally pally with them, and he's coming against and speaking a lot of conspiracy theory, so they're going after him. What's your take on that briefly? We don't have to stay too long on it. Russell Brand.
Russell Brand, as always, if we go back to the clips, Sylbourne, and
Yeah.
I speak, I don't have any position on Russell Brand the person,
Mm,
but I look at it and I see the level of hypocrisy that is
yeah.
there in the media world, because
Mm,
Russell Brand has not, if anything, Russell Brand has changed the way he approaches and the way he speaks to and of women. And that I
mm,
find very interesting. Russell Brand has changed that. So is loose behavior from in the past, where he would hug and invade a woman's um,
space.
personal space,
Yes.
whether it is in an interview or whether it is in whatever. He was flamboyant and in your face and gregarious. He was that kind of person, and
Mm,
nobody came about and said, oh,
anything.
this guy was inappropriate. So I find it interesting that at this point, that this man has now switched and is going against what seems to be the grain, to hit out against the COVID vaccines and its treatments and the whole
Mm,
conspiracy behind it. And if we look, I mean, some of what he said is just not incorrect, because we had Partygate. We can't forget that. We have had
yes.
so many questions. So many of us have had so many unanswered questions. And it just so happens that Russell Brand was one of those persons who were very intellectually, I might add,
Mm,
just kind of breaking down and pulling apart and deep diving in the information, whether it was coming from and what Russell was using. Because I used to watch Russell Brand, what he was using are articles that has been printed, researches, and he was speaking to other professionals within the
yeah.
field from to support his thought process. No, at no point
Stop
did
process. Yeah.
that it did not the establishment didn't have a problem with Russell when he was being womanizing and he was being inappropriate, apparently, allegedly, with women. They did not have
Mm,
a problem with him at that point. According to the news, the BBC sent a car to pick up a 16-year-old, or over all she was, and took her to Russell Brand's place and said, Russell, you can't be seen with a 16-year-old. So suggesting that they knew what was happening behind the scene and they knew what kind of person he was. So they didn't have a problem with that. The problem they
mm,
had now was when he started talking about things that impacts on a mass number of the populace.
yes.
Yes. So that is when they started having a problem with him. And that kind of lead you into a little bit of skepticism about the motive behind
Behind
the
these
action.
allegations.
And when you think that women who were harassed, allegedly harassed by Russell Brand, they didn't go directly to the police. They went to the news
News
reporter.
reporters.
So you that kind of leave you to wonder. I am not a Russell Brand fan, but I can only speak based on the information that is
Mm,
in front of me. So I reserve my judgment. If he is guilty, and proven in a court of law that what he has done, what he has been accused of, is what he has done, then he is no exception to the law.
Yeah.
The same as what
Brother?
our ex prime minister and even our current prime minister,
Mm.
who seem to get away with some things. So it now seems that there is one rule for one and one rule for the rest of us.
Well,
You
what,
know,
well, yeah. Well, the
Russell should not
BBC,
get away.
yeah, the BBC Director General said there's no room for complacency in the TV industry as he announced a review of
Mm,
complaints against Russell Brand during his time working for the broadcaster. So I
yes.
find it also very strange that now they're going to go into this massive thing.
Hmm.
Even Vanessa Feltz was saying on a program where when she came on as a guest on his program, and he was talking about her two daughters and something alleged like he was sleeping with all of them. You know, trying to say, and she said she cringed. But I'm saying you cringed then, but why didn't you guys acted or reacted then at that time? You know, the
Hmm.
corporation already removed some programs featuring the comedian and actor from its streaming services, and also YouTube, I understand, has stopped monetizing it. You know, and it comes after he's accused of rape and sexual assaults, which he denies. Gary, what's your take on this briefly, Gary?
I mean, I agree. If without misunderstanding what Diana said, I would agree with her. But and at the same time, I would say that for me anyway, I think there's something quite strange about this. Something quite strange. I mean, Russell Brand, I don't listen to him much. He was not one of my favorites. I I didn't spend
Likewise.
any time looking at him and following him when he was on BBC or wherever he was.
Yes.
But obviously, he has spoken out
Hmm.
against several topics in this world and against particular organizations and peoples
Big pharma,
that huh?
big
What was
pharmaceutical
that?
companies.
Big farmers,
Yeah,
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 who make
yeah.
billions. They make billions. Yeah.
Yes.
He's spoken out against the vaccine. He's spoken out against Partygate. He's spoken out against other things. They don't like it. So what are they going to do? Destroy him. Why didn't they do these things before if they knew that
Yeah.
before? But obviously, he's not with them. He is talking against them. So they're going
Mm,
to do what they can do to destroy him. That is strange. That's quite strange.
Yes.
mhm.
Yeah.
And as you said, Diana, as you said, one rule for one and a one rule for the other,
Yeah.
which of
Yeah.
course is not right.
Double
Yeah.
standard. Anything.
It is a double standard,
Mm.
but I there is this gentleman on Facebook. I can't remember his name, but he has been very vocal and I love it. He is an Irish gentleman and he has been very vocal about, I will not join in. I will defend Russell or anybody else until they are proven guilty, because we cannot allow the
Tried by
allow
jury.
the yes, what I mean, we can't allow it. So he pretty much pull up receipts and try to say, hang on, you know all of this is happening. I will stand with this gentleman until he has been proven guilty. So it
Yes.
seems that there is a rush to judgment always, and where the media lead on some things, it causes me to go with caution. I can think about when the media wants to destroy someone, the kind
Mm.
of PR that they run. I think of Meghan Markle. I think of Prince Harry. I think
Mm.
of so many people. You know what I mean? And they tend to have this PR marketing strategy
Machinery.
to convert public into their thinking as if we can't think for ourselves. And when you think
Yes.
about the
Yes.
different newspapers and news stations that are running with these programs, let us not forget that in our country, the media is run by a very small elite group of people. They own
Well, Rupert,
newspapers.
well, Rupert Murdoch has decided to
Yeah.
step down at 90, at the age of 92.
Oh well, but his son is going to be taken over from him, and his son
Yes, yes,
has been well trained by him. You know what I mean? So you
yes,
talk about Rupert Murdoch that with Sky, he didn't get Sky, Sky B, Sky,
yes,
but Daily Mail, Sky, all of them, they are all
yes.
run by a very small elite group, and I say elite
Mm,
for want of a better word because I'm a lady, an elite group of people, and they have a
yes,
vested interest. What However they want to sway the court of public opinion, they will put their mechanism into full force to make sure that that happens. So, I will reserve judgment, and I will say to anybody, reserve judgment
yes,
until the court of law has found him
yes.
guilty or not
Yeah.
guilty.
Well, the principles in law is that a person is innocent until proven guilty, and everything which is happening now, and it's really difficult for them to have a fair trial. Or Russell Brown would have a fair trial because the juries or the prospective jury, if anything on this matter goes to a full-fledged court, then they'll be already being prejudiced, you know. But anyhow, we leave Russell Brand and let the chips fall. I can see he's got great supporters like Katie Hopkins and all those different persons coming out in full fledged, you know. But it's interesting. I want to go into something, and it's regarding the Guyanese president. Don't know if you
My
guys
new
have seen,
hero,
yeah, the Guyanese president, and he's now second to what's her called? What's her name?
Motley,
The
Mia Motley.
Motley. Yeah, because
How do I
I don't
know these things? How do I know these
I
things?
don't see Andrew Holness talking about these things. The guys, this is listen. Let's play it a bit. I think I got it queued up here. Let's see if it will work.
Would be covered by this. Why should somebody who maybe had an ancestor 7 or 8 generations ago, long before they were a twinkle in their eye, why should they have to pay now for what an ancient ancestor did? Or why should they apologize for what an ancestor did centuries ago? Why do they still carry that burden?
Hi, my name is Alexa, and I would like to give you a few reasons why you should consider dating a young Asian lady. You can choose a potential spouse from
Oh, it's not a burden at all. You are one of the beneficiary of that slave trade. So this is not a burden. You should be concerned and you should pay because you today are still benefiting from the greatest indignity to a human being, and that is the slave trade. And not only did you benefit during the slave trade and your country developed, but look at what it caused the developing world. During slavery, resources was used to build your country, build up your capacity. You were able to then become competitive. You were able to invest in mechanization, and developing countries like ours were left behind. So you should be very concerned because you are a prime beneficiary of the exploits of slavery.
So put a figure on it, please, because it always comes down to the bottom line. July, Sana.
It's
For a second, that Richard Maudley said the guy is from Ghana. He didn't even recognize. Did you notice he said Ghana?
Did he? He's from Guyana, is he not?
Well, I know he's Guyana, but he said Ghana because Richard Maudley has been getting a lot of criticism, of course, the way how he was talking to the president, you know.
Mhm.
And I won't go into any further, but we're back again in this era of reparation. Uh, Julian Robinson, the former Minister of Industry or Technical in Jamaica, his father is Judge Robinson in The Hague, and he also called for reparation as well. And many people are calling for reparation, but people are asking for more. They're asking for this injustice with slavery. Nobody's wanting to apologize. Nobody wanting to actually make amends. You know, everybody's sometimes trying to belittle the transatlantic slavery movement in a way to say that let's move on. Do you get that? Like, now these guys are not really serious. They don't want to face it. Even Richardson don't want him to touch it. Garry?
Well, I mean, I think you see. All right, let me start with Rishi. Rishi's not going to touch it because the powers that pulls his strings don't want to be touched, so he won't touch it. I mean, even though he may be in the right position to say something as an Asian, he may have, but because again, he's in a position that, like all others, is persuaded and coerced as well as influenced by. Obviously, that is something he's not going to touch. If he touches that, it's going to be problems. And I think for all of the colonial powers that are, I mean, look at France right now. They're in a whole heap of a problem because the African countries that were under their control, they are rebelling.
Yes.
And if the French government lets them go, you know what the next thing is going to be? They're then going to be asking for reparations, and the French government is not going to do that because they won't have the money to do it.
So I'm glad, Garry. I'm so glad you said that.
What was that?
Because
Said what?
in terms of France and Haiti, because I quickly just went to a Google search just to remind myself when France stopped paying Haiti. And we must remind ourselves why. It was in 1947, that France made its last payment to Haiti. Haiti made its last payment to France for slavery, right? And for their own freedom. So when you think of things like that, and think of the Francophone, I can't remember the name of what they call that group of
Francophone.
Francophone nations.
Yes.
That that France. Oh, listen, yeah, reparation. I so agree with the president of Guyana, in that Britain and the other Western countries, they benefited. They are in the position that they are now in,
Still
simply
benefiting.
what their ancestors did, right? We are in the positions we are in because of what they did to our ancestors. So how is it then that you can now turn to us, and children of our ancestors, and you are also a descendant of yours? How can you say, just forget it?
Yes.
That was in the past, when you're still benefiting from it.
Directly.
And I am still being
Directly and
deprived
indirectly.
because of it.
Yes.
So at what point do you want me to forget this? I don't hear anybody saying to the Jews, forget what happened to you in the Holocaust.
They would not dare.
Let us be clear, the Jews, they had some form of reparation.
Definitely.
They
And
had some form of reparation.
they're still benefiting. They're still getting paid.
And they are
in
exactly.
Germany. Yes.
So what are you then saying to me? Are you saying that I am not worth it? What
Well,
are you saying?
yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the president of Guyana was called on descendants of European slave traders to offer to pay reparations to right historical wrongs. Irfan Ali also demanded that those involved in a transatlantic slave trade and African slave enslavement be posthumously charged for crimes against humanity. The South American leader comment came in advance of Friday's official apology by the descendants of Scottish 19th century sugar and coffee plantation owner John Gladstone, the father of four-time Prime Minister William Gladstone. Ali 43 said reparations were a commitment to righting historical wrongs. I think one of the things that I find very interesting is that there's not been like some sort of truth and some sort of reconciliation commission or something of that nature in regards to the transatlantic wicked, horrific trade, transatlantic shipment time. It is terrible, totally terrible. You know, Gary?
I'd like to just make an observation here because Diana singled out Haiti.
Yes.
Now look what's happened to Haiti.
Yes.
After the last payment, either whoever made the last payment, look at the downward spiral of Haiti.
Mm.
And France has made no attempt to try to bring any peace to that nation.
Yes.
If they have, it's just a few soldiers that they've sent down there to do whatever. But then you can see the effects of what colonialism did to Haiti. Now, if Haiti is any example at all, then look at Africa. And Africa is already on the downward spiral. And when if France should ever come out of Africa, which of course I wouldn't speak against, but at the same time, what I would say is that Africa, I don't think there's going to be any hope for Africa, really. Well, that may sound a little bad. It may sound.
You mean if France leave? Is that what you're saying, Gary?
No, what I'm saying, look at, as I said before, look at Haiti.
Yes.
Look at what's happened in Haiti. Haiti is not under the control of France anymore, is it? No.
Mm.
But Haiti has not shown any positive moves upwards in being any better by themselves than when they were under the colonial regime of France.
You see,
what I'm saying that Africa, the countries that are rebelling, they are to some extent still under the control of the France government. If France lets them go, yes, I feel that those countries are going to see the same, well, not exactly, but they're going to go into the same direction as Haiti. Because
I'm disappointed you said that, Gary, and I'm disappointed for one reason, in that, and that is because these outside influences from Haiti has orchestrated so many coups in and destabilized Haiti. Every time Haiti raises its head above the parapet, that you have these behind the scenes agents that has infiltrated and destabilized the country. Aristide, you can think of so many of the Asian leaders.
Papa Doc, Baby Doc.
Do you understand? So when we look, it's what I'm hearing from you, it's like a thief. Yeah, I have my jewelry at home, and the thief who has a security company, come in and rob some things from me and say, see, I told you were better off when you left your things in my care. How can that be? My possession would have been pretty safe if you had not come in and tried to steal it. So for you to be telling me that you are you're the best guardian of my prized possession, I don't understand that. So when you say what will happen to Africa, Africa has, as we illustrate, has suffered the symptoms of destabilizing Africa. Why do that? Because of the precious, the resources that Africa has, you have to make them look incompetent. And so this comes from the guise of somebody saying to me or thinking that because we're Black, we can't lead our own countries efficiently and effectively. Then I'll have to point to Rwanda. I'll have to point you to Ghana. I'll have to point you back to some of these African countries that are doing amazingly well.
Yes, yes.
And they have
That
stepped
that
away from
yeah.
rule and from
Yeah.
colonial rule.
That I think I got to agree with you on a point in a sense, because what I sense is leadership as well, and I hope that with the coup um with Niger, with Gabon, Gabon, I understand somehow the person who took over is actually the cousin of the same person, and they're under the thumbs of France still. But I
Mhm.
believe that leadership is going to be the key factor, and I hope and pray that what happened with Haiti also had a lot to do with the level of dictatorship which was going on with Papa Doc, Baby Doc, and these guys were also raping the system at the same time. So I
Mhm.
just hope
Well, that
that.
well,
Sorry, Gary.
well, yeah. Well, still, I think that Diana has
Yes.
answered the question, her own question, because um, when these coups took place in probably one particular African country, who then was there that they said that they were hoping would come in under to replace the French, the French influence? It was Russia. They were there flying the Russian flag, and
Yeah.
and that is the very same thing. What I'm saying, Diane, is not so much that there was not any leadership there, as you
Mhm.
stated so well, that that black leadership is not doing um, well, cannot do well, and you cited some countries. That's fine,
So
but
they're
the thing
swapping.
about it is that when yes, there is a void that is created, and things come in to fill that void, and it works against sometimes the very positive things that these African leaders then want to do, and that is what happened in Haiti. As soon as the French came out, then you had other powers coming in. One
The
of them,
vultures
notably,
came in.
yes, and one of them that they say did that was they don't want the Americans in there because the Americans did the same thing. Now the
I
same
am
thing is
not
going to happen with these
So that,
Africans in some of these African countries.
I'm not a
yes,
fan
yes.
of Vladimir Putin. But when you look at the Russian state, yes, if you can tell me the countries that Russia outside of their own backyard, which is Ukraine, and I want to stay other people's fight, but if you look at the countries that Russia has supported, Russia has been a big support to Africa in our journey to freedom,
And China,
has not tried to go into Africa to overthrow the leaders in Africa in order to steal their resources. Russia has not tried to do that.
Yes. Well,
I can recall even states, even small states, but with big leadership, and that is what Sylbourne is talking about: leadership. Fidel Castro, South Africa, when Mandela was imprisoned, it was Fidel Castro that sent his army
troops.
and went into South Africa to
Yeah.
maintain and to give that support to the freedom fighters. It
Yeah.
was it was it was little places like even our little small rock Jamaica, our big leadership in Bob
Michael
Marley,
and Michael Manley
Michael
as well.
Manley, who stood up. So what
Joshua.
we're you know what I mean? So what we're literally talking about, we're talking about leadership. And leadership is not something that you can you dare I say that you're born with the quality. And you see, when you have not compromised your
Yes.
position where anybody has anything over you and can dictate to you what you do and don't do. So I
Mm.
want to think that the Guyanese prime president, yes, he is not beholden to anyone. So he
Yes.
can speak freely and with authority about what he thinks is absolutely right and just.
And
Yes,
they just
I do
recently
not
found
believe
oil.
that our prime
Yeah.
minister, the Jamaican prime minister, I do not believe that he has that level of
Gravitas.
leadership, simply
Mm.
because what most Jamaicans would have suspected, that he's a puppeteer. There's a puppeteer above him.
Yeah, yeah,
So you have Mia Motley, who
yeah.
makes herself big and boisterous and without apology speak, because again, as a leader, yes, one wanted to know that there is not a puppet master over her. So leadership is important. And
Yes.
where we have had solid leadership in Africa and in places of the Caribbean, those countries were strategically destabilized by Western countries and Western interests. And we
Well,
must not go around that.
yeah. Well, let's talk about leadership, and I'm gonna switch quickly over to Jamaica now because we're on the last leg now. But I just wanted about 10, 15 minutes on Jamaica because there's a breaking news which has happened in Jamaica. But before I go, someone on TikTok said, God got me, said, "Hi, they are not going to share their wealth they obtained. That is the European countries. They're not going to share it, and they're going to hold on to it as much as possible." And what Dan said, something which is very important: the wealth that they've got is because of the back of the African slave trade, and also why sometimes Africa is like this because they raped it. They rape Africa,
And
and
they
they
continue to.
they continue to rape as much as possible. But anyway, very interestingly, guys, and ladies and gentlemen, those on Instagram, thank you for joining. Those on TikTok, thanks for joining. And I'm over on YouTube. You can watch it later. You can see the beautiful Diana and Gary, the stand-up muscle share, whatever that word is. I don't know what that word is. I just created it a while ago. I'm just being a facilitator of these handsome and beautiful people. But the Speaker of the House in Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker of the House, Dalrymple Filbert, um, civil society groups are calling for her to resign. Okay, and why they're calling for her to resign is because of a breaking news which has happened, whereby it is said that under careful consideration, it was determined that Mistress Marisa Dalrymple Filbert should be charged for 4 counts of breach of Section 15(1)(b) of the Parliament Integrity for Members Act 1973 for making a false statement in a statutory declaration for the periods ending December 31st, 2015, February 25th, 2016, December 31st, 2016, and December 31st, 2017. It was also determined that Mistress Darlene Filbert should be charged for 4 counts of breach of Section 43(2)(a) of the Integrity Commission Act 2017 for making a false statement in a statutory declaration for the periods ending December 31st, 2018, December 31st, 2019, December 2020, and December 31, 2020. Now, what is happening is that she's also the Speaker of the House, right? The Speaker of the House, which is something that and people are asking for her to step aside, for her to recuse herself. But at present, no, you know. And if you recall, we have been talking about this, about the Integrity Commission and about the code of conduct that the present leaders and MPs in the all parties should be signing up to. But so far, what we understand is only the PNP has done that. Also, there's 6 members of parliament or senators who are being investigated for illicit enrichment,
Mhm.
right? So you see, this is what we talk about leadership. This is what we talk about. Are we talking about leaders wanting to lead their country forward, or they're just in it for themselves? That's leadership. That's lack of leadership there. And I think it falls a lot on the prime minister. Leadership. Who want to jump in there? Incriminate yourself.
It's going to be quite interesting to see what the DPP does.
Oh
I
yes. Oh
it's going to
yes.
be quite interesting. The one who
Oh
has
yes.
been war term has been extended to be used as the pen writer for the government. It's going to be interesting to see what she says. But the law, whether it is in any modern society, whether it's Jamaica or whether it is England, America, Russia, France, or in Africa, there is corruption and we cannot get around it. There is
Mm,
corruption, And what will happen is, I guess in this case, we will see how serious the government, the Andrew Oldness led government is
Administration, yeah.
about addressing corruption. We have the same question in contrast, I suppose not in contrast, but similar to the United Kingdom, when Rishi Sunak, our now Prime Minister, when he went to the podium on that very first time and he talked about his in his tenure, he is intending to corruption and all of these things and integrity are the things that he's going to uphold. But lo and behold, it wasn't long after he seemed to have gone back in the shadow of the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. What we know is that when it comes on to political leadership in any country, yes, the laws that apply to its citizens does not necessarily apply, or they can sidestep those laws when you are in the political class. There is no way the Speaker of the House could be charged for so many breaches of integrity. I think it was something you said. You remind us of a quote, Sylbourne, the last time we were on air, and you talk about integrity. You talk about honesty, and you said if they have two and they don't have integrity, you forget it because we're going to be in problems. So when you're talking about the fabric of society, truth, when you think of integrity, you're thinking of honesty. You're thinking of model that causes us to feel a sense of security. When you erode integrity, you are eroding the security of the nation.
Yes.
So you look at this lady and you look at it. I mean, who is going to be surprised with what happened? If she gets thrown under the bus, she's going to get thrown under the bus first and foremost because she's a woman.
Yes. Somebody just said, "Who protects the people from the government?" on TikTok. Who protects the people from the government? And it goes further to tackle corruption effectively. I believe every anti-corruption agency must be fully armed. Now, the reason why someone said that there, and from UIC, the third political party, someone there said that, is because today, just recently, just maybe a couple hours ago, a member of the Integrity Commission was shot.
Oh, yes.
And one of the lawyers there was shot. And that's why they're talking about. So it's getting a bit very dirty. It's getting a bit very concerning because there's an election which is pending, and it's like everybody or some maybe want to hold on to power for their life or whatever like that. I don't know, but it's a very dangerous thing which we're seeing unfolding before our very eyes. And also in the same thing regarding the Integrity Commission, what they said that the chairman of the anti-corruption body said the IC's report of ruling were copied to the deputy speaker, which is Juliet Holness, because of what we saw as a conflict involving the speaker herself tabling the matter. So the speaker wanted to table the matter and they said, no, take it from her. That's why they sent a report to the deputy speaker. And in his cover letter to Parliament on September 11th, the IC asked the officials of the House to take special note that the subject of the reference investigation is the sitting Speaker of the House of Representatives. In that regard, the IC said that in the interest of good governance, the Honorable Speaker may deem it appropriate to recuse herself from the parliamentary process that are associated with this matter. But I don't have the video, and it's going around where she made a ruling to say that standing order. I'm not going to rule. I ruled on this, and this is the law. Blah blah blah. It's crazy.
And the opposition walked out,
and the opposition walked out.
It's I don't know. And I don't know how Garry feels about this, but do we need to kind of burn this all down and start again?
Burn it down. Wait, that burn down Jamaica. Wait, that about.
No. The system.
On Sylbourne show.
They are go bun. No. Do we need to look again at the system? Because if you're going to be honest, it is discouraging.
The government chief whip has absolutely no business whatsoever shouting from a sedentary position. Order! The honourable gentleman will remain in the chamber. When...
Sorry?
It still is. Just consequently.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Since when an amendment has...
Order. I know what I'm doing.
When he turns up at our children's school as a parent, he's a very well-behaved fellow. Be a good boy!
Order. Sorry, I just had to drop that one in there. I just had to drop that one in there for a second in regards to order. Order in the house. Order, Garry. Order.
Yeah.
With John Burke.
It's a serious matter, though, Sylbourne, is it not?
Yes.
It's a very serious matter, because what protection is there for the people of Jamaica, or for any country for that matter, if the political class, the ruling class, cannot be trusted to act with the same weight that they have that kind of put on the people, in that if it was an ordinary citizen that had breached any laws that govern their sector, it would have been the outcome would have been clear. Either dismissal, just think of a corporation, it would have been dismissal. So where you have a situation with the Speaker of the House, she recused herself. Oh, I'm so my language is my teeth.
She hasn't recused. She hasn't.
She has not recused herself. And what does the Prime Minister? Well, I suppose the Prime Minister, there is a protocol where the Prime Minister's position cannot be voiced at this point. Is that the case?
I don't think so. I think the Prime Minister, the leader of the government, should be able to speak on issues, because he came out recently and spoke that he condemned the shooting of the lawyer at the Integrity Commission of recent days, and someone just reminded. Yeah, so the Prime Minister really, I believe that any leader should be able to come out and put their foot down in regards to. I think that the minister or the speaker should step aside. I think also that the deputy speaker should come up. But then if the deputy speaker is also one of the persons who are alleged, because there are many voices going around, are part of the investigation into the illicit enrichment, then bangarang, then it's like a domino thing. It's going to be like a domino thing, because if the speaker is implicated, and if the deputy speaker is implicated, and if the prime minister is implicated, and if everybody's implicated, that means to say what? Jamaica is just going to sit back and say, hang on a second. Hey.
He without sin cast the first stone.
He without sin cast. Well, I'm trying to say. But there's a serious bangarang. There's a serious issue there, I must say.
Was the lawyer killed?
No, he shot him in his hands.
Okay. In his hands? He wasn't killed?
Yeah. No. He wasn't killed. Yeah.
So he got a warning. He got a warning shot.
Yeah, I mean, because even somebody called me and trying to give me the breaking news. I said, listen, Virgin, I had the breaking news even before Cliff Hughes. And so like that, because somebody from Integrity Commission was giving, from the Advocacy Network was giving me an update as to what was taking place. And what they said, the developing story or news centers received reports that an employee at the Integrity Commission was shot and his briefcase stolen by attackers in the parking lot at the organization. The employee said to have been shot in the hand. And I think they said the person is a Mr. Ryan Evans, an attorney at law and public policy specialist with over 22 years of work experience. If you recall, there was a shooting incident that took place also at the Nationwide News. They say it links to the fact that the General Secretary spoke out and said that NNN, Nationwide Network, is a arm of the JLP, and so it's a silly season which we're going into in Jamaica. And even though we're not there, but we're really very much interested and and concerned about there because of yard. I don't know where Gary come from in Jamaica, but I come from Ochi. Where you come from, Gary?
Kingston man, I'm a Kingston, I'm a town man, you know. I deal with the country.
Really? I like Garry tell.
Well, I can see. Go on, Gary. You're saying something before we wrap up, yeah.
Listen. What is happening in Jamaica right now, right? And even with the speaker and the deputy speaker and trying to implicate prime minister. To me, honestly, I don't think anything happens without the prime minister, whoever that individual is. I believe he knows or she knows what's going on. And whatever has happened today or yesterday or within a particular period of time, I believe that it has always happened in Jamaica. I believe it will always happen. Jamaica has okay, we have tried. I believe Jamaica has tried to always go right. There will always be elements within whatever. Well, let's just concentrate on Jamaica. There will always be elements within the political arena in Jamaica that will want to go right. But there are elements, on the other hand, that will try to manipulate the process.
To take it left.
Yes. And I think I really believe that let's just hope and pray that things do not escalate and get out of hand as it did in the late 70s, early 80s.
1980s.
1980s. Let's just hope and pray, because it's not going to be like the 80s. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse.
You think so, Gary?
I believe so. It's going to be. It's not going to just be, and especially again, as you know, and Diana knows very well, I'm sure, that the country now is looking to or the powers that be there are looking to go in the direction of becoming a republic, especially that.
And the funny thing, we haven't even heard anything more about the republic thing. It's gone. It's gone dead, Gary, since we had the thing over here. It's the dead thing.
You see, you've done their work for them already. You've done the work.
Diana's done the work for them.
Oh, Diana's done a very good job.
Have they not had any more town hall meetings?
Nothing.
No more town hall meetings.
Nothing.
I wonder if I should send my bill to Jamaica for them to pay me.
Yes, please, and send it to somebody. Just said a while, Ochiman, them original, them out.
Oh gosh, different words than you. Well, Sylbourne, I noticed you didn't ask me where I am from in Jamaica, which I don't understand why you didn't ask me where I am from.
Because we know, say you come from everywhere. Yeah,
it's
Lego
right.
bees. Sorry,
Diana. Diana. Come on, Diana. Diana, come on.
Come back. Pull her back in. Get.
On behalf of my father's good name. No. On behalf of my father's good name, I will sit here until Sylbourne apologize.
I humbly apologize, and I genuinely apologize, and I'll even pay reparations as a result of that. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. You're gonna charge me hard now. we're in Jamaica from there.
I'm a proud person who was born and raised in St. Andrew, specifically the Olympic Garden community.
Whoa. That's bad man territory.
Yes.
Olympic Gardens, that's bad man territory,
I'm telling you, this is why me just make sure we turn on the camera. Come in about me never want to dark up Sylbourne.
Hey, Ochi man them, first time I go Kingston, I'm going out here, Why man them say, who are you? Where you come from? had to call the person. I had to call the person who I was supposed to see in that area, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, on a serious note, though, someone just pointed out that there's a third party in Jamaica, Rise Up Jamaica (UIC). They have a they have a then halfway tree the Mandela Park tomorrow, 22nd September.
Rise of Jamaica is not the same as UIC.
Well, no. They said rise up. No, it's not. No, they just said rise up Jamaica and join us. They're just saying rise up because I know Mark Cameron is having a new party which is called Up Jamaica as well,
Oh God,
and
yes.
it would be so great for there to be some sort of
I
coalition.
cannot. I must confess that my family is associated. A family member of mine is associated with the Rise Up Party.
What's the Rise Up Party? Is it the Rise Up Party?
Hold that to my chest. Yes.
Hang on.
Some of them broke away from UIC.
Oh,
and
is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct? Is that?
Yes, I'm telling you.
Okay, right. UIC Rise Up. Is that a new party? Wow, there's so many parties out there, man.
There's a new there is one that wants to come onto the scene. Listen, Jamaicans are trying. I think Jamaicans are fed up of the two main parties.
Yes.
Because as my grandmother would say, no better airing, no better burial.
Yes.
So Jamaicans, my only problem that we're having now as a country is that we are going to be so withdrawn from the system that we do not, again, same thing, participate.
Yes.
And participate. We're at a point where it is crucial that as Jamaicans we're participating as citizens, as responsible citizens, into the governance and the life and the activities of the country. So this is not a time to become wary
in doing good
line, because we're talking about legacy that will be left for our children or our children's children in the future. With the reformation of the constitution that is being proposed, I can see where there would be loopholes in those constitutions to protect the political class, whoever they are going forward, and not necessarily the best interests of the Jamaican people.
Yes.
Right. And that is one of my concerns. I remember this barrister gentleman, Mr. Kulo, was doing this program about guardians of the Constitution.
Yes, Matondo.
And I'm so sorry that he didn't continue with that, and even at this point now delve deeper into what it means to be guardians of the Constitution.
Yes.
Because when we look at what is happening in the country now, when you talk about the Speaker of the House that is being charged with let's just say the Integrity Commission find her less than honest.
Yes.
Right? And these are not necessarily matters where you're talking about life and death. In the big grand scheme of things, these are small things that she has not declared. These are things with monetary values. All right, the cost of whether a house or a car or whatever she didn't declare that she had at the time, she forgot. Right. So if you can be this dishonest with something as small in consequence as that, what would you do if it had in the more weightier matters? What would you do? And so it doesn't give me any comfort. It doesn't give me any comfort that the Prime Minister is quiet on these things. It doesn't give me any comfort that Mark Golding is more interested in replacing the Jamaica Labour Party rather than actively exposing the things, the ills that the government and not the downfall of the government, but
I think they're doing it. I think they're trying as much as possible to expose.
Well, because they just had a PMP conference, and the PMP conference that they just had, they are looking to put themselves forward to the people to say replace them with us. replace them with us. And when you look at something that he did in the People's National Party conference, when he brought Damien Crawford to the front and was holding up Damien Crawford's hand, if I go back a couple of years, it was the same Damien Crawford that they had a problem with. Right?
Yeah,
So
but
people, they will
yeah.
always work in their own best interest. This is what is happening.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said right there, and especially regarding the Speaker of the House, because I say to you, one of the things what the Speaker has said in explanation is that she forgot and to disclose certain things, and I do recall some years ago there was an MP who said I can't recall, and can you imagine the average Jamaican can't recall, I can't remember certain things, you know? Is that an excuse? Is that any defense? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Ignorance of certain
Well,
procedures is
I
excuse.
mean, can you remember some years back? Can you remember some years back, almost the same situation with Siaga, when he forgot that he had a loan and he had to make payments on it?
Is that the one with Carrie? Is that the one with Carrie Nosa? Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I mean, listen. We have seen it here in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
Not, I mean, similar circumstances along the way, I'm quite sure. But the point I'm trying to make here is that these individuals, they know what they've done. They talk about it. What they then do, in my estimation, is say, okay, listen, when we get to that, when it comes to the public attention or the opposition attention, we'll deal with it. But just go ahead as if you don't know. Just carry on with the order of business. Because a honest individual would deal with it straight away. They would probably highlight it themselves, and then eventually what may then happen is that they have to resign, is that they have to step down.
Yes.
But people who are not that way inclined, they would more or less say, okay, listen, just go ahead, just do what you're doing. If it comes to the fore, we'll deal with it. If it doesn't come, then obviously they've missed it. But just carry on as if nothing's happened. Yeah. So I think these things has happened in any area of society, in any country, in any nation state. These things happen. Yes. But it's dealt with really, and sometimes it's the lies that are then told, more lies to cover up the lies that has been told before, and it just gets out of hand. It gets ugly. It gets messy. Leadership, as you have said, yes. Obviously, yes. The prime minister or the president of any particular nation state, they have to put people that they can trust because they really are in charge. But they can't do everything, can they? So they've got to entrust people to put these individuals into particular departments who will then be able to do the best job possible. So it always comes back down to the prime minister or president or even the CEO of a company.
That is very correct, and especially in light of Jamaica, with the lots of power which is invested in the prime minister, as he appoints all these different persons, appoint the speaker, and all these sort of things. Then it's they have that responsibility and that that decision and that accountability and that transparency totally rest with him ultimately, and he needs to come out and say something as much as possible. I want to play something before just to leave us in a nice mood, and it's a joke which I think Dan sent it to me today. And Garry, are you a football fan? You know the score goal. You know the score goal. Right, well, this is the ultimate goal scoring. Let's play. Let me see. Let's see this. Sorry.
You have to take it back, Sylbourne. Take it back. We didn't see it.
Is this start it over? Start it over?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay.
No, you'll have to send it to Gary. You'll have to send it to Gary
That
because
that
your
Wh-
feed.
that that
where was this being played?
Oh, Gary, they have to. He has to send it to you.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
man, send it to me then. Let me know.
I
Let me see what it's like.
No, hang
Well,
on.
guys,
Maybe I can. I don't know Sylbourne. I'm not as technical as Sylbourne, but I can probably Gary if I can let you see it.
oh, you have a different version.
Huh?
Send,
Have you got
Diane,
a different
send
version?
let
You'll
let
have to send me
Sylbourne
a
send
number.
you
Oh no,
Sylbourne
I got
send
it.
her
I
your
can WhatsApp. I can WhatsApp it to Garry because it's on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, listen. It's a great evening. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, and Diane, as usual, for grace us at this last minute request to join and to look at these fundamental issues regarding Jamaica and
Come
also
back
the.
next week, Diana.
Oh, yeah,
Huh?
Garry. Yeah, Diana.
Come back next week.
Oh
Oh,
dear.
she did the marathon Saturday night, Gary. Just to let you know, she
Is
did the
it that's
marathon
good?
last Saturday night. She came on for
That's
20. She
good.
should have come on for 30 minutes and she hang on for about 3 hours.
Sylbourne,
Oh,
I
but
must say, Sylbourne, you have an interesting show. And one of the things that I hope, and I really hope that it blows up and that more people can tend to join in the conversations because the
yes,
conversations are pertinent. They're usually based around current issues and issues of the day that we're talking about. And I will
yes,
say for your commitment to bringing that to the fore, thank you for that. And I
yes.
really hope you continue and that the audience grow and grow and grow.
Thank-
Where I can contribute with my pea brain, it would be my pleasure to do so.
Definitely. And Gary, of course, we discussed extensively the issue which happened in Peckham the other day, and I think the place is still closed, and that is something as that's another conversation, another time to look at another angle of it as well. The Peckham issue with the hair stuff. So, so thanks for that as well. All right.
Oh, Sylbourne, sorry,
Yes.
have you not noticed that Gary and I are in the same house?
Yeah,
Have you
Gary.
Oh
not
yeah.
commented that Gary and I are in the same house? Gary, I
Are
will
you
meet you in the kitchen.
okay?
I go play piano. Go play piano. The piano behind there. Who's gonna sing? Who's gonna sing? Who play and who sing?
Diana will sing. Diana will sing. I'll play the piano.
You play the
Okay.
piano. All right. Well, listen, guys. Thank you so much, and have a good one. And I'll keep you updated as to what's happening in Jamaica regarding the whole issue.
Excellent.
This gentleman. All right. Peace out.
Thank you
All
for
right
having
then.
me.
So
Take care.
God
Take care,
bless.
Dan. Take care.
Good
Bye
night.
bye, Dan. Cheers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight on the show. Thank you for those on Instagram. Thank you for those on Facebook. Thank you for those on TikTok as well. Remember to like and subscribe, and you can watch a full video where you can see the beautiful Diana and the handsome Gary, because all you're seeing is me for those on TikTok and Instagram. But for Facebook and YouTube, you can go onto Facebook and YouTube as well and watch it. It's very interesting what is happening in Jamaica. Very interesting what is happening in the world, especially with the president of Guyana, who is talking about reparation. Reparation is important. Reparation is needed. And most importantly as well, an apology is crucial at this time. And justice for Chris Kaba and justice for Jamaicans. Yeah, justice for Jamaicans. For Jamaicans to also be in a position where they can feel somehow that there's a level of transparency a level of accountability, and a level of responsibility by the leaders. Leaders must lead from the front. Leaders must be above reproach. And leaders must learn to step down when it is time to step down if you have fallen short. That doesn't mean to say that you can't rise again, but for the sake of transparency and accountability, do step down. All right. God bless you. Peace out. And all the best. See you Saturday night as well. Cheers. And let me see if I can say bye for this one. Okay. Good. Here we go.
Let's go.